My girlfriend demanded I sign a strict non-disclosure agreement to protect her corporate brand from my embarrassing career, unaware I secretly owned the parent company of her biggest client. We were sitting at a crowded coffee shop on West 4th Street when Jake slid a manila folder across the sticky table. "Marcus, I need you to sign this confidentiality contract," he said, sipping his iced matcha. "My consulting agency is finally pitching to Fortune 500s. I cannot have you talking about my clients or associating your low-level gigs with my brand." I stared at him, bewildered, letting out a dry chuckle. "Okay, sure." He let out a massive sigh. "Oh, thank God. I was worried your ego would get bruised. But you understand, right? I'm playing in the big leagues now. My professional reputation is everything." That stung, but I kept my expression completely neutral. Jake thought I was a struggling freelance web developer. Why? Because I work from a cramped home office, wear vintage band tee, and drive a beat-up 2011 Subaru Outback. What he didn't know was that 6 years ago, I coded an enterprise logistics protocol. I licensed it globally. The royalties alone net me about $58,000 every month. On top of that, I own commercial real estate in Seattle and quietly sold my secondary patent last year for $3.8 million. I keep it quiet because immense wealth attracts parasites. I desperately wanted a partner who loved me, not a financial dependent looking for a permanent ATM. Jake was fiercely obsessed with his hustle. He bragged about his boutique firm, which had maybe 8 real clients. His downtown loft was drowning in credit card debt. His Tesla was a lease, but he walked around the city like he was a corporate type. He constantly gave me unsolicited career advice, patiently explaining basic networking strategies while I smiled and nodded along. The breaking point happened 3 weeks later. He demanded I accompany him to his firm's summer investor gala at the Navy Pier. The catch? I had to pretend to be his junior project manager. "It just looks better for my image if my partner is actually part of my empire," he claimed. I agreed, mostly out of morbid curiosity. Tuesday night rolled around. He was draped in a velvet designer suit, mingling aggressively with the elite. I was standing near the ice sculpture when his CEO, a sharp guy named Richard, walked to the podium to announce their new lead investor. He called the head of the equity firm up to the stage. My personal wealth manager, David, walked up to the microphone. He gave his polished speech, but as he wrapped up, he pointed right at me. And of course, none of this happens without our silent principal partner, who prefers to stay out of the spotlight but is thankfully here tonight. "Marcus, raise a glass." The entire ballroom turned. Jake froze, his champagne flute hovering in midair. The color drained from his face. I gave a polite wave and slipped out the side doors into the humid night air. The next morning at 7:15 a.m., he violently kicked open the door to my apartment. He didn't look polished anymore. He looked completely frantic. "You own the equity group?" he whispered, his voice shaking uncontrollably. "Part of it," I said, calmly pouring my morning coffee. He paced frantically. "You need to pull your investment right now, or transfer the oversight to someone else. Better yet, sign it over to a blind trust immediately." I laughed out loud. "Excuse me, Marcus, do you know how profoundly humiliating this is? I spent the last 2 years treating you like a charity cake. I introduced you as my subordinate last night. If my colleagues figure out I am sleeping with the primary investor, they will think I slept my way to the top. My independent image is ruined." The irony was suffocating. "So, you want me to jeopardize millions of dollars in investments so you can keep playing pretend?" I asked. "You let me pay for our anniversary dinner because you said you were tight on cash," he screamed. "I have been teaching you business. I was testing you." I fired back. "And you failed. You brought a contract to a coffee shop to legally keep me away from your elite life. The truth is, you are terrified of not being the smartest person in the room. You cannot love someone unless you feel vastly superior to them." I told him to pack his bag and leave my apartment forever. We broke up right then. I severed my personal oversight of his company's account. 6 months went by with total silence. Then, last Tuesday at 2:14 p.m., I got an email. Jake had been hit with a corporate defamation lawsuit and was facing total personal bankruptcy. His message was desperate. "I know you hate me, but I need an emergency bridge loan to cover my legal retainer. Please, Marcus, I have nowhere else to go." Full story on the channel, link below.